Yeah, the stream is live. Okay. Hello everyone. Nice to be here again. It's been I think a week plus since after the game are done. And now we are here once more. We're excited to hey, my screen is 1 year, there's 1 year. That's interesting. Which do I look at? So yeah, now we're wrapping up with the game are done. A lot has happened so far. And I'm sure a lot of people are stressed and tired. But this week we're wrapping up with the game are done. We have like a full-fledged report to tell you what we've done so far, what kind of experience we had. But what I find really, really exciting is we're wrapping up with something we didn't really get to do during the main week, and that is the hack pitch. And that will be happening tomorrow. So, yeah, you should really follow up with us. There's going to be about 19 game studios pitching. That's super in the PC and the mobile category. And we'll get to all of that. Yeah. But before then, we are having a session with someone who I consider a games industry veteran, someone who has been in the games industry for years. I mean, more than a decade, if I can put it that way. And though right now he's in the general tech ecosystem doing a lot of amazing stuff, he still runs Game Dev Nigeria, which is like an association for game developers in Nigeria. And through this platform, he creates content about what is happening in the Nigerian games industry. And there's like a small community being built around that. So if you want to get into the space, if you want to understand what's happening in the Nigerian games industry, Oluwaseya is the person, and he's going to be talking to us, giving us a brief history about the sector. Can you bring up Oluwaseya, please? Yes, I don't know. I call him Share. Calling him Oluwaseya is a little bit weird. Yes. Yes, Oluwaseya, where are you? Appear. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes,
Hi, Oscar.
super. Hello.
Hi. So my main. So hi, Oscar. I just wanted to kind of know I am looking at you here because of I have my main camera
Yeah.
looking on here, but in case you think I'm not looking at you, I am actually looking at you.
Okay, it's just like it's awkward seeing that you're looking left, you're looking right, and people are like, okay, what's it there? Yeah, but I understand multiple screens. I think I'm having that same issue with my setup right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. Nice to have you here. Nice to see you again in the games industry. I know you never left, but then
Great to be here. Um,
yeah. Okay then. So I'm not going to bore everyone. I'm sure you have a wonderful presentation for us to see. So I would leave you to introduce yourself and give us that breakdown. I like your tag. You know, you used to be a game there, but now you're a chronicler. What's that?
it's it's like I pick pieces of different things and try and put them in a place where all the information is. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's what I like doing in every single thing. In the music I like, in everything. So I just felt like it's a much better way to define myself.
Nice. It's like in the Marvel universe, I can put you like the Watchers now. You get like
I'm
you're
not I'm
done. You
not
just
I'm not I'm not as big as them, but if I were given the power, what do you think I would do?
okay then. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm looking forward to learn from you what the Nigerian games industry is like over the past decade, and yeah. So I'll give you the
Okay. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Now that Oscar is there, it seems like I may be the only one. But yeah, as Oscar has said, my name is. I'm not sure whether my screen is visible. Thank you. I was gonna say it looks like my slide isn't visible. But it is. So my name is Oluwaseyin, and welcome to my presentation on a brief history of the Nigerian video games industry. I'm not sure how many people there are currently. So before I stepped into this, I think I wanted to present a small game. I hope it works. If it doesn't work, let me know. So I'll probably just skip it. But it was supposed to be. Oh, can you count the game? the game studios that you know. If you probably have your phones, it's easier to just bring out your phones and scan it. If you're on a PC or you can see it clearly, you can quickly type that into and just help me fill a form. I keep this page running for like 90 seconds. I'm supposed to have like a 90 seconds countdown on YouTube, but I think I'll just look at the clock starting in the next 9 seconds, and I would end that in 1 minute 30 seconds. So if you do have time, please help me fill out the amount of studios that you think you know, that you've recognized, that you've seen, or you've had contact with, basically. Just to get a general sense of the audience and probably what you know about the industry, and if you know any of the names that are here. There are a couple that you might not have seen, the couple that you might have seen if you're lucky. There's usually one or two names that are here that most people will at least know. If you don't know any, I don't think you should feel bad. It may mean you're just trying to enter this space and you're an enthusiast and you just want to know a lot more about the space. So 30 seconds has passed. Currently, I'll leave it for another 30 seconds. As you help me fill the form. If the form isn't working, I, I'm not sure how I would know based on feedback. Maybe Oscar will let me know because I know there's a private chat here. But if it's not working, do
Yeah,
let me know. If not, I'll just skip it. But I'll leave it for like another 30 seconds
yeah. Please, if you can leave it for
and
like 60 seconds more.
60
I
seconds
just
more.
dropped the
Okay.
link so people can see it. And someone's asking, what are we to do?
Just
Fill
pick.
that form.
There should be options based on, I think, a range, if I remember correctly. There should be options based on a range. And you just fill the range based on the number that you know. I think there might be something there for zero. I could see. Let me even see whether I can fill it for myself.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so it's
trying
there.
to.
So it's
It's
just
saying, is it going? You can share the link. The link I shared, it doesn't seem to be going. But you can share, if
uh
you have a good link, you can share it in the private chat.
okay, I
I
can do
would.
that. Let me quickly do
Oh,
that.
Ola says it's working. Can you drop the link for us, Ola? Because what I typed out is not going through.
So the link is directly this. I can see the chat, but hide this. Okay, let me paste that. So that should be the link. Um, so that's the link. I've selected the wrong one. Can I reselect?
Yeah, it works. It works.
No,
So
because I
let me
know
copy.
how many do I know? I mean, I did the presentation, so so how many more seconds should I leave it for? Like another 30 more seconds?
Yeah, please, if you can.
Okay. Just basically
Yeah,
just
if
get a
you can.
general idea of what you know about the industry. I'd be surprised exactly as I put there. If you know like eight or more, I'd literally consider you an OG, someone who is probably way more in the industry than normal. There are a couple of logos and images here. A couple people don't know. There was one I even had to change pretty recently because they recently changed their logo and I didn't even know about it. So if you do
Even
know,
Malinu's logo has changed. Yeah,
um, I mean I don't know what it has changed to, but I would assume the Malio games is still constant. The just the text. I still know it uses the red, so the red is still probably their primary color or whatever color that is. So I don't suspect that's changed too much
yeah.
from that, but at least the name is there, so you would know. I'll leave it for like 10 seconds more, and then
Yep.
I'd see what the results are. I'm hoping to be surprised with the results. So like
Um,
five,
that QR
four,
code is here a logo as well.
three, two, one. No, the QR code is just it's the link to take
Ah,
you to it. So it's faster
ah,
if you just scan it
okay.
if you're with your phone rather than typing it on
Oh,
the web. Welcome,
oh
welcome
my
to
God.
QR code 101.
But the way you placed it, there was no
I
like
Sorry, I
identifier.
placed it in the center so that, and I tried to make it big so that you could know. Sorry, I was supposed to mention I scan it. But thanks everyone for filling. I think I will go to the next slide and see what the results are. One, only me. I think I filled. Oscar, did you fill?
No, not yet.
You didn't fill.
Yes.
Uh, no, I feels like I'm the only one that failed. Anyways, I skip it. Like I said, it's not really important. What's
Yeah.
important is probably who is presenting this to you. As Oscar has described, I'm a veteran game developer. Currently, I'm exploring other areas of tech. Um, I used to make games, and I started making games when I was in 2013. As far back as 2013. I did that at first with Kuluya. That's one of the game studios that are up there. Um, then I did that with GameSo. Then I also worked for Malio a couple of times. So in terms of the three pioneer studios that were out there around that time, I'd worked for most of them, and at least most of them were technically big studios. Um, I've also freelanced for a while for like game studios and startups. I majorly helped them ship their very first game, and contributed in other ways. Most of my games, or most of the popular games that I've done, are Masai. That's this Kenyan character. It's a 2D infinite runner. It's almost like Run, Run and Gun. Giddy Run, that was a game by game, so they released that on the MTN Game Plus App Store. Anointed, that was with a startup, Unila, and we worked on a Christian game about a boy trying to fight battles, and different things in his life. And then lastly, What King, I think the current game by Malio, and they still have that on the store. And I think it's doing fantastically well. During that time, I literally tried to blog about the industry. At Game Dev the NG. It started as a blog, as my personal blog. I was trying to just blog about meeting game developers and attending meetups, and I felt there wasn't like a dedicated space where this was done, so I somehow converted into that. And I was blogging for a while. I stopped before COVID though, but literally after COVID, I literally had to set priorities to a lot more other things. So I haven't done blogging a lot. It's the reason why I call myself a chronicler. So I sort of like try and curate content and put out some things there that aren't just available. So like there's a directory there that has like game studios. I'll probably do one that has like maybe all the studios and then put like the games that they did. But there are some the directory has like the game studios that currently exist, that are currently alive, I think so. And then the games that they've done. There's also some resources and some events that have been done in the past. I haven't updated 2023 events. Hopefully, I have time to do so. And I also helped create the very first program structure of Game Up Africa. You might have heard of it. Is the talent building initiative that Malio partnered with Google to do, and they're training like 1,000 plus game developers in Africa. So basically, that's me in a nutshell. Yes, if I forget. The reason why we're here is we're talking about a brief history, and I'd literally just be focusing on like origins, trends, and milestones. So what that is historical content. I will be talking a little about that. I'll talk about a couple of key players and stakeholders in the industry, some that you may have seen, some that are probably still alive or still present. I also talk about notable games and maybe trends that have happened that you've seen, and significant events and awards. I wouldn't be talking a lot about like the economics or the financial aspects too deep. I may mention a few, but basically that's the focus of this slide or this presentation. Sorry. So it begins. Origins. So underground development. So generally, game development technically started in 2012, or at least the noise started coming out in 2012. So this was with Malio and then Kulia afterwards. But I mean, before that, way long before that, there have been a couple of people trying to do stuff on the grounds. And one of them is Bayo Pudikombi. He who later went on to found Chop Up, which was formerly known as Pledge 51. Another one is Abiola GameStore. For Bayo, he did if I remember, it was a Nokia, a downfall game on a Nokia series. This is way old. I'll probably show you the slides based on the screenshot and how it looks. But that was one of the very first games he did. I think he later submitted that in a competition. I'm not sure what the competition in a Nokia, sorry, in a Nokia West Africa Create for Millions competition. That was around 2011. So this is like pre 2012. And then later, partnered with Zubar to form Chop Up. To my right is Gameso Abiola Olaniro. He did a couple of mobile games and submitted that in a competition. Competition of that was for Microsoft. I think it was a Microsoft Imagine Comp competition, and he won that. That was 2010. Then he submitted another one, I think maybe the next year after for Samsung, and he won that. So literally before the whole noise, there've been a couple of people that have made mobile games and submitted that. So it's very, very important to highlight them, the whole history of video game development. But I mean, there are other things that we'll cover. And one of them is like the evolution of PC games, or what we'll probably say the very first publicly available game that came out, and that was Titi Tilapia. It was a game that was made at a game jam in 2012, early 2012, and that's the one on my left. You see it's by Sunbeam. It's playing now, and you can see. I think it's basically a fish. Is that playing or is that hung? Okay, yeah. So it's a fish. You're trying to look for stolen eggs. I think it was by maybe an octopus. I think it's an octopus because octopus are evil. Supposed to be evil, right? So I think it was by an octopus, and you're supposed to play as her, a character, swim around and find eggs and bring it back home. So pretty simple game. Pretty simple. I mean, it will show you the graphics eventually. In maybe three, two, one. I start the whole monologue. It's still loading. Anyways, now it's loading. But basically, that was it. They went on to, so the guys at Sunbeam went on to do other games. I put their two logos here. The earliest form of their logo is on the left, in case you didn't recognize it. A later form of their logo is on the right. But basically, that was like the very first public game in Nigeria, and it's well known to date. On my right is one that is currently being developed by Dimension 11 Studios. If you know them, it's a, I mean, the graphics of the game is fantastic. It's gory. It's almost like Mortal Kombat, but you play as a character Remy. The name of the game is Legend of Orishas. I should probably put a link to it, but maybe chat me later. I'll probably put a link to the game if you don't know the game, but I'm pretty sure you can Google it and you'll probably find it. And you play as this character Remy. I don't know the full story of the game. I just know tips and bits, but literally from the GIF of the character, you can see it's a fantastic game. I think you have wonderful boss fight battles. But this is just showing the first game that we had in 2012 to what probably studios are currently making right now that is looking near AAA quality. Although part of that would also be the evolution of graphics cards, but also just to show that okay, we've come from somewhere, we've come from like 2012. We've not just been, or we didn't just appear out of the dust. We've been making games and PC games technically since 2012. So when Oscar shared that thing about the surprise of, oh, there's more PC pictures, it got me excited because it feels like as if we're probably going back to the roots that we were known as. I touch a lot more on Origins, so this is more on mobile game evolution. That's not playing. I have to click play. Okay. To my left, your display is distracting. To my left is the downfall related game that I said Bayo did. You can see this is like pretty mobile Series X. If some of you know what Nokia Series X is and used to play some of the games that were Java-based games like the Prince of Persia, this was like how the games were. The graphics were not that great, but this was what you had, and this was like the very first mobile game that eventually came out, and that was by Chopper Babayo, where you have and the game just looks fantastic. The explosion is awesome, and basically I can't wait to play the game. But still, all this is based on the capability that graphics has improved, not just on PCs but on mobile phones. But this is the evolution of what we had then and to what we're doing now, and it's pretty exciting, basically. Sorry, I skipped one side. So I've jumped to gaming trends. I was probably supposed to do I was supposed to hide this and ask like a general question to think about like what what gaming trend would people think was like the most popular in Nigeria, and it's probably Endless Runners. And I think somewhere in 2015, 2016, we had a ton of them. We still have a ton of them now. To my extreme left is Aboki Run, I think by Malio Games. This is Kekon the Run 2 by Twin Crown Studios. They released the part one early 2012, and I think that did very, very well. At one point, it was the I think the highest downloaded games on Android. This was early 2012. and that was like close to like 100 downloads. So the 100 downloads back then was pretty huge in 2012. And then he released the version 2 later. To my right is Giddy Run by GameSoul. That eventually came out on the Game Plus store. It was a local store, by the way. And I think you could only play it if you had an MTN SIM card. But I think that also did extremely well. But after that, we've gone to have like a myriad of other games. You might have heard of 30BG Run, you might have heard of SARS versus Yahoo Boys, you might have heard of um Aki and Popo, Epic Adventure Run. There's been so much endless runners. I have a friend that literally says, they're tired of endless runners, they don't want to see any endless runner games. I'd say not so much. However, if you can do a wonderful endless runner that is so good and it's very captivating, then why not? But at one point, there was this trend of endless runner games, and I think a lot of people still want to do endless runner games, basically. But that's like gaming trends that we've seen in the industry. Another one of those gaming trends is war clones. So around, okay, I think I picked that date around like 2018. So that was the blog post I did. We gave that an NG, and it was started with 3 years and a million downloads later. Basically, it was Ninja Ward's transition to hit a million downloads, and it took them roughly 2 years and a couple of months to hit that. I did a blog post about it, and it felt like the next year after that there were like a lot of war clones, because it felt like there were only like five in the market then. But Nigeria was doing enormously well, and I think it's grown to do. I don't know what the numbers are now. Hopefully, maybe they've reached like 2 million or 5 million. Um, but it went to do well. But because of that, it felt like everybody else was doing work loans. The basic simple thing is if you go to your Android Play Store, type what, you probably see a lot. There is Whatfire. Even Malio did one, as I said, What King. There is I can't remember. There's Waji. There was Chop Bar by Chop Bar. There's What Africa. So there've been like a lot of what clones that have come out, and it feels like what is the new gold. There might probably be a lot more to come in future, but that's like another gaming trend that we've seen that has basically happened in the industry. Serious competition. This is literally not the trivia games war. But to my left is during the early part of like 2012. Maliu and Kulia were like the sort of like forces of natures. They were creating web games, and they were using Flash to do that. So Malio had a couple of web games, and Kulia had a couple of other web games. And it felt like during the era of like 2012, 2013, 2014, they were the big two because they were the ones really pushing web games and making, let's say, making a name for themselves. They were also getting like media attention about the games that they were making. So it felt like at that time, I called them the big two. Basically, they were the big two that were literally fighting it off, and probably who was probably doing way more. Eventually, both transitioned into mobile. I don't think Malio did Windows Phone games, but I know Kulia because I worked there. We did Windows Phone games. We did games for the Nokia Asha, if I remember correctly. I did a couple of Android games. In terms of like the big two that we've seen like serious competition, that was it because it was like the battle of like the web games world. Then there was another point in time, I think 2017, 2018, that was like Trivia Wars. And it was by Carry First. I think I've forgotten the name. Uh Carry First Trivia, yeah. And then Beast Mode Games, they launched TQ Trivia. Um and then both were literally using celebrities to try and publicize their games. I think Carry First and Trivia, they both got like a million downloads in a couple of months, maybe it was a year, but it was really, really fast. And then they continued doing that, but basically it was mainly this whole idea of play to earn. You play a game and you earn money, so you can see the one that they did with files on the right. And I think that was really, really intriguing, because I think I joined just to see how the whole thing went. Well, it was crazy. So it was like you join my and for 15 minutes you play based a game based on trivia. I think trivia Carry First were changing theirs and doing like things based on teams. Maybe they'll do one for football. I'm sure there was one for World Cup. I think around that time. But basically, that was the idea. They were using celebrities to push their games, and the games did pretty well. The sad thing is, I think there was like a winner and a loser in these two serious competitions, right? Kulia don't exist anymore, and Malio exists. Beast Mode games don't exist. I don't know what happened to TQ Trivial, and Carry Fest still exist. So basically that's like, in terms of, if there's a battle of people trying to win, the obvious winners were Carry Fest and then Malio. In between that, in the industry, there was a couple of media spotlights. Around 2017, there was Ultimate Gaming. That was a show that tried to spotlight video games, game developers, or anyone that was literally into gaming. They were talking about your culture in gaming, how you got into gaming, and what you do basically with gaming. They aired that on like a local TV shows for a couple of time for a while, and I was on that show for like once or twice, and a couple of people saw me and felt they were inspired by me and probably by some other people, and then they entered their game development journey that way. So that was fine. That was wonderful. That was intriguing. If you ever knew anything like Ginks or what Ginks was, it was like the earlier versions of Ginks. Ginks has changed now to, I think, complete esports channel. So what they do is majorly esports. But at first, Ginks were, spotlighting game developers, doing interviews, and just showing how the whole game development process was going to. And they're touching other things. And for me, it felt like that was the way they were doing. That was what they were doing. Aside, there was Enter Africa, who was also doing interviews the same way, but they were asking developers a bunch of questions and just trying to gain an insight onto how the culture of game was and how developers grew from where they were and where they are now. And that was nice. You should read some people's interviews on that. They're really inspiring. Around 2016, I've put Emmanuel on my name on this lower side. So Emmanuel was like the very first game developer to break the remote job gig. I think this was 2017, 2018. I can't remember when exactly, but he was also one of like the Unity, like the very first Unity certified developers. Made him DJ and a couple of other people, and he used that to break through the whole remote barrier. And I think since then we've had like a lot of remote gigs happen, and was majorly doing that through Upwork. Um, and it's wonderful to spot like that. Conventions. There've been a ton of conventions. I think Lagos Comic Con was one of the first to really bring gaming. Probably that was in 2010. And then Africa Comic Con came, and then there was Wage. So they've literally been a couple of conventions and events that you could attend. I think Lagos Comic Con finished a couple of weeks ago. So if you attended that one, you'll have probably seen couple of games and animations and everything around the geek culture. Africa Comic Con host their yearly gameathon, so that's nice. Wage did well up until a point where I think they died down. But at that point, I think there was a 2015 event where Unity and a couple of people were in attendance, and it was really huge. It was really the next thing for game developers to come and showcase their games. Yeah, we do have to mention a couple of sad news, so not everything is all rosy. Like I said, there were a couple of studio closures. Kulia went down, but what they did was they transitioned most of their animators into Rock Studios. Chop Up closed down somewhere in 2019. Game so probably didn't close down, but shipped to Kenya. I haven't heard back from him since. Sunbeam Games also did that. There was Avena, there's Twin Crown Studios. So basically, just to highlight a little bit of studio closures that happened. There was also how would I put this in a way? There's also an a training issue that happened with Envival Communications that was in partnership with Unity, and I think they got support from the industry. But what that did was it felt like it landed a couple of aspiring game developers to be in debt, debt that they didn't plan. I don't know about the ongoing case and the situation of it now, but I hope something good happens and happens pretty quick. Apart from that, we had like one game developer sadly passed away last year. He was part of the developers in Quiver Games, they're an Enugu-based studio. If in case you don't know and you're in Enugu and you're like, hey, I didn't know there were game developers in my side. There are game developers in Enugu, and he passed away last year. So that's like sad news. But more to bright and nice news. So what has happened in the industry has been tremendous up until now. We've had Malio partake in international collaborations with 4 or 5 African studios. They were able to make Mamati Ting and what's the name of that game? Mission 55 Conflict of Ankara. And they did that back to back. We're hoping to see more international collaborations with studios. I know what part of what Africa Communicate did when they introduced that game at home was to bring a lot of people together. And we still hope that collaborations improve and increase based on that. But so far, it's been nice. At least the 2 games were nice. I played at Mamati thing. I think it was superb. I haven't played Conflict of Ankara, but I think it would be nice as well. Apart from that, Malio partnered with Google to launch their training course to train thousands of African developers to enter the gaming industry. They've been doing that for like 3 years running. So more push up to you. Please don't stop. But it started at 300. I think last year they did. I don't know what the number of signups was, but it was above like 1,000, almost close to 2,000. Um, so we're happy to see more game developers come in and more game developers create unique experiences that only you can actually make. Um, I also have to highlight like individual successes. One of like the best. I don't want to say the best, but in terms of successes on PC on the platform on Steam, I think Virago has it. That's by Honest Chronicles. It's a guy based in I usually forget. Maybe this is Cardinal Just, but I probably need to understand my map. But forgive me. But in Cardinal Just, one of them, and he made a game that was fantastic. That resonated with not only a local audience, but more of like an international audience. He made the game. He shared it on TikTok. He built a community around that game. That game. The community also came back to build the game with him, and then he launched it on Steam. And I think he had about 1,000 sales on Steam. So that was nice. Like I mentioned, Tonero Soft did fantastically well on Android, smashing like the 1 million downloads. Another game after that, which was I think Ludo, I think that I smashed the 1 million download as well, if it's not reaching 5 million. So he's doing absolutely fine on mobile, especially on Android. Game Soul at some point. Was doing well on Windows Phone before that closed down. Was practically one of the key successes or one of the very first successes in terms of video games that in Nigeria that they were making revenue, and it was making revenue basically or mainly based on ads. That was doing very well until they closed shop. Um, but he also had like other gigs just before he shipped out. I think they got a contract with Diamond Bank before Access Bank Body to do like a portal for them, Dreamville, if you've heard of it. So it was GameSoul that did that. So literally successes along the way. It's not been all bad, but that's the whole journey. I think last year was fantastic. Last year is what I termed the indie funding because it felt like a lot of indies were trying and pushing, but as you're trying to make your game, you need funds or you need money to actually make the game. One I haven't put here is definitely still um Dimension 11, the guys that are making the Legend of Orisha. They, I mean, they recently just entered the Xbox Game Camp Africa. I think they've gotten support and funding along the way to build that game, and we're not anticipating that game. But apart from those guys, there's been Brosoft. They got the Epic Mega Grant last year, if I'm not wrong, and I think they've released Outliver. Hopefully, I got the name correct. And you can see the game on the left is the one that's playing in the GIF. That's currently available on Steam. You can go check it out. You can play it and you can support them. Then there's Deviant X by Zero Cage Studios. That is supposed to be on his way. I'm probably supposed to talk with the developer and ask him whether they are making progress on that game. But he also got funding from the African Game Developer Fund last year to continue to build this game. That's also a PC game. You can wishlist it on Steam currently, and hopefully tell the developer that you should hurriedly finish the game. That we're excited and looking forward to it. Awards and recognitions, yes. So as I mentioned, there were a couple of significant events that happened. So Abiola in 2016 he won the Future Awards Prize for Technology in 2016, and around that same time I mentioned there were 4 Nigerian developers that got Unity certified. Um, Hugo in 2021 won the Gaia, so that's Game Industry Africa. If you don't know that, you should check that out. They do wonderful news on the whole ecosystem and gaming industry in Africa. But he won the Gaia Award for Person of the Year in 2021. That was for growing the future talent. In 2022, he also won Mentor of the Year. The last person to spotlight was Chuk Okafor. That was in 2020. He joined, I think it was a global XR hackathon, and he won it for a game that I can't remember the name and I can't find the links for. But it was a fantastic game. It was almost like Beat Saber, but you were shooting stuff. If I do find it, or if anyone has a link to the game, or maybe I'll probably message Chooks myself and ask him if he has a link to the game and I can share that. But we have had like more awards, but these are the ones I really wanted to spotlight. And there you go. You have like a sort of rough history of what has happened in the industry. Like I said, I was going to talk about a little bit of historical context, a little bit of key players that you've seen in the industry, maybe some that you know now and some that have been in the past. A couple of games that you've maybe seen or maybe heard of. I may not have showed them, but maybe I may have mentioned them, and like the trends in that, and like significant events that have literally happened, not just the good, but also like the bad, and like awards that have happened. Um, and if you have any questions, please shoot me an email. I feel like I rushed this a bit, but if you have any questions, please just shoot me an email. If you have any questions on the game industry, if you want to learn how to join the game industry, there there would probably I should have put like a group. So there's a game dev group on WhatsApp that is really buzzing up late. If you're interested in doing that, I can get an invite link for you to join. But basically, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate this.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that was what can I say? It
Was
felt
that?
it felt like going way back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I wanted to say, was that too much? Because it felt like I rushed through a couple of things. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe I should have stuck to my notes, but I was like winging it instead,
No,
because some
we're
of
on
those things I
time.
can remember.
Yeah, we're on time. We're on time. And I think what you did there was very important because a lot is happening in the space even now. And the truth is, we need to create more awareness. I mean, looking at what you've showed just now, I'm sure a lot of the new studios, because we have a lot of new studios coming out just recently, since after the pandemic, the numbers have increased, and they are,
Fantastic.
unlike what I can see in the past, I think it's now we have more real indie studios. It seems everybody back then had funding, right? And then they had teams, they had companies. I do remember MTN Game Plus very well. Like yesterday, they were trying to do a lot. I remember Ultima Gaming. I was on that show as well, and yeah. Well, it's not that you say it, not that you show it. A lot has really happened. A lot
I, I,
has really happened.
I'd even say, do you have any questions? There's some things that you have probably forgotten, but yeah, a lot has happened. Sorry for interrupting. Did you have any questions first of all?
For me, no. I think that this is mainly for the audience. I really enjoyed it. I do think we should really see how we can compile this into like a document people can really push out there, and also even see how we can allow people contribute to it. Because I'm sure there are some other things that were happening that we've not been able to add to the space. But when you look at telling about the history, like these were most of the major events, and this was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is good. So if anyone has a question out there, please, the comment section is there for you. You can reach out to Loa Shea Ila. He's asking for the WhatsApp group. Okay, I don't know if you can put that out there publicly. So just you're
Uh,
on LinkedIn, Ayomide. So just please feel free to hit him up on LinkedIn and get access to that, or you could reach out to me as well. Yes, there is a WhatsApp group of game developers, and it's a thriving community, if I must say. Lots of discussions and arguments.
it's a good use of
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah,
I think in that group we've been trying to see how we can collaborate on one thing, but there are more arguments than collaborations. But hopefully that will improve. I think that will improve as more people join. And
yeah.
then the topic of collaborations has come up a couple of times. So eventually that's going to happen. That's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I think we're inching closer to that kind of stage where people would be working together on projects. Yeah. So if you have questions, please drop it in the comment section. Let's address that. This is like a brief overview of what the industry has looked like. I know, and this is from a very good perspective from Shaya. I know if I were to tell the story, mine will start from about 2014. You did miss out all the wonderful game jams we had. Come on. You
Yeah,
didn't even have one picture.
there's
And
there's a lot to cover. So I mean, what I try to tell people is, when some people are like, oh, are there game developers? Is there a gaming industry? I'm like, yes. It's been like 10 years ago, and they're like 10 years. This was even in 20. This was 2020 when I was saying. I'm like 10 years. I'm like, yes, 10 years. There's a lot to try and condense into one. And
mhm,
I can only try and pick out like the best, or basically, or the best places that I think, from my perspective, where
yeah.
are more interesting and more intriguing. But we can't cover every single thing.
Definitely. But this is a good start because look at all those studios. I'm seeing there was a time where everyone was doing web-based games
Yeah,
before we
yeah,
moved to mobile. And now it
yeah.
looks like this new generation are all pro. Let me sell each copy of my game. Like nobody wants to do free to play. Like if I'm building it, $5, $9, wish list.
No, but no, no, but that's good. That's interesting because I have to say, probably in my time we were trying to experiment whether this was even a thing.
You
Even
guys
at
had
even
fun
at
then. From what I'm seeing.
so we had we had let me not go into that. That's like a private talk, right? But it was more like everyone was trying to experiment what was the best way to deliver the game. And yes, Malio and Kulia were experimenting with web games because it was faster to push out, right? Then to push a PC audience. How many people had PCs? Mobile then wasn't even as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to push your mobile to your market, right? Push your mobile to the market, how would you do it? A lot of things were figuring it out, right? And like I think we've had like 10 years to do a lot of figuring it out, and hopefully, you know, take it to another level. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I can only hope for better and brighter days to come.
Okay, so we have a question. I think I'll put up on the screen. That's from Miracle. What do I need to look out for when joining a startup? And I think this is like a game dev startup. What should she look out
So
for?
what do I need to look out for? You said she. In fact, it was funny thing. Doing
Okay,
my presentation. I didn't
actually, I have
mention.
no idea.
I didn't. Okay, what I say he or she, but I just wanted to mention. I didn't even mention like the women in gaming. That are Doshima, Kagome,
Yeah,
and a couple of
we'll
others.
come
So
for you. Don't worry.
in
Finish the
case a
super.
woman in gaming are thinking there are women in gaming. So what do you need to look out for when joining a startup? So is this a startup in gaming, or is this a startup in
Yeah,
tech? Right. So
has to
is
be a
it
startup in gaming because we are pro game studios here.
Um, it depends on your end role. It depends on the result you want. If you want to make mobile games, join a mobile startup. So Mali will probably be your your best bet, or any other startup that is trying to do mobile games. If you want to build PC games, then join a studio that is building PC games. That's literally from the development point. I can tell you. If you're just starting out and trying to figure it out, join anybody, because then you don't have a preference, and then as you learn and you go, then you figure out what it is that you want. So um I hope I've answered your question. If not, I'd probably say maybe you can send me a message later. I'll probably drop my contacts with them so they can share with you, and maybe I can answer a more detailed or more in-depth I'll give a more in-depth answer or response. But
Yeah,
basically, from development side, if you don't know anything about game development, join a game dev studio. It can be Dash, it can be Raven Illusion, it can even be Dimension 11 Studios. I think they are looking for anyone and everyone that can join their game and at least make their game much better. And there are different roles that you could join as well.
Yeah, yeah.
What
And
do you look out for when joining a
I think
startup?
it's the same question. Yeah, what do I look at for? It's the same question. And from my own perspective, I think I'll just say, first thing first, don't also limit yourself. We're in a global world right now, so it doesn't have to be a Nigerian game studio.
Absolutely.
Put yourself out there. And one thing I would just say, look out for is really for me at this point, if especially if you're just starting, opportunity for growth and self development. I think that is very key. A bulk of us really, really paid the price. I know I worked with a startup for about almost 6 years before I branched out. Yes. So, and that's where I learned game development, embedded system, name it. That's where I also started learning business, community management, and the likes. So look for where you would have an opportunity to grow. In some cases, most people, if you go to, we don't really have structured environments in the games industry yet, though, especially locally. Yeah. So you might be forced to try one or two things as opposed to specializing, but look for where you can grow. I think that's the most important thing, a supportive environment that can help you grow. Yeah. Any more questions? We
There
have
was
this.
one. Yeah, there was one
Okay.
that asked what's the name of the Christian game. It was Anointed, Chronicles of Laughter. It's currently not on the store, but I
Okay.
hear it's supposed to make a return sometime this year.
Ah,
Um, I hear. Um,
okay. Okay. Spoilers. We
I
should be
hear.
giving out
So,
spoilers in our industry, you know. These are the little things we
uh,
are missing out on. Yeah, where are the bloggers and all, Muna and the likes?
you can say I've not blogged in a while, so I don't even know. I don't even know who basically that is.
Yeah.
Another question about the WhatsApp group. Let me send a message. Hopefully, if we're still, how much time do we still have? I can probably send a message to an admin in the WhatsApp
Uh,
group, and then he can give me the link. The problem is the link expires every single time I request it. I think for 24 hours, so I have to request one, and then they see it, and then they send me.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So well, I think it's exactly 8 p.m. West African time. We've spent exactly an hour. This was lovely. I don't know if anyone has more questions. I don't want to keep sharing anymore. Um, and Ugo says we do have a structure. Yeah. So that's Ugo B, founder of Malio Games. I know I did mention there isn't a lot of structure in the games industry right now, but then Ugo is telling us out there that yes, they do have a structure at Malio
so,
Games.
so you're asking for spoilers. You can actually go to share template.
Okay, Ugo, there you go. Share us template. Let's know what's going on. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, there's I mean, there's the emergence of what I call an ecosystem. There's the part where we are having more developers than we've probably ever had.
hmm,
We're having more indies creating games and diverse games. So there is a structure being built. Eventually we'll get there. I think we're figuring out how we work our own industry. It may not be exactly the same way it is in US or Japan or America or some other places, but I think we're gradually getting there. At least we're not baby steps anymore. Basically, that's what I'd say.
exactly, exactly. That's definite. Yeah, and even the quality of our projects as well has really evolved over the years. I mean, I'm excited to when I went through all the game submission, I was really really impressed to see what people are doing, and yeah, we're getting closer. Very very.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any more questions?
Um, you guys can drop my contact. I can drop my contact with Oscar. You can share it if anyone has any further questions. They can send me a message.
Definitely. And where's the best place to catch you? LinkedIn, right? If I'm not wrong.
This the problem now these days. Even LinkedIn, I don't know. I 2 months ago I'd say Instagram. 3 months ago I'd say WhatsApp. Right now I'm not sure. My problem
Twitter
is
or
my
X?
problem is
Are
I
you on
will
X?
reply. No, no. My problem is I am, but I don't. I'm not active. So my problem is I will reply asynchronously. So it might take a while, like a couple of hours to, unless you tell me that maybe you're burning or you're on fire. But I would say maybe Instagram and WhatsApp. So I'll drop my contacts with Oscar and the team, and then you can reach out to me via those.
Okay. You could also just type it in the comments section. Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
comment section. Yeah. So it seems as if I have to join the chat.
Ah,
And
okay,
then when
okay,
it's telling
that's
me I need
okay.
to
Then
join,
just drop in the private chat and
I
I
need
can
to do
put it.
two
Just
factor.
your Instagram. Yeah. And
Okay.
as we round up, I think I'll take this from Ugo, which says the ecosystem is imagine we have a mobile focused studio, PC, event organizers, bloggers, streamers, and this is great. Yes, we have a growing ecosystem, bigger than ever, with more studios than ever, in my own opinion. And when I say studios, I mean people that are actually working on projects and looking to monetize as well, because that's very key for me. People that are business focused, we have more of them than ever, and we have people beyond just studios, people on the event sides, on the media and journalism side, and even on the business side. There are more people coming up on that, ecosystem builders and the likes. I don't know, there's Olushayate Johnson. He's one of the big person when it comes to connecting people in the industry. There's Louis White. He has, in fact, taken a tour around Nigeria to meet game developers, which is really cool. So yes, we are growing, and for me personally, I would say now is a wonderful time to join the sector. Yeah. So with that, all I would do now is share Shay's Instagram and do.
Let me
It's
check.
it's very simple and straightforward. Interesting. I was expecting something complicated.
No,
I
I
don't know
tried.
why, but I was expecting something very complicated.
I tried to make. I think it felt like when I was coming online, I tried to make it simple for me to remember. I had a feeling if I grew old, I will not be able to remember weird, fluffy something 2491, and I'm like, no, no, no. I need something that's my name. At least I can't forget my name.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay then. Okay, that's super. Yeah. So guys, I think we'll bring this to the we've come to the end of the program. We've spent almost an hour, 52 minutes. Thanks for spending time with us. If we do have questions, please feel free to reach out to Oluwase. He's what we call an OG in the industry, and I'm happy he agreed to do this because he did this earlier at Lagos Comic Con. I was like, bro, you have to do this again. And I troubled him, trust me. If you know me very well, you know I know how to trouble. I was like, you have to do this again. And he turned up for us, and I'm really excited. So reach out to him on LinkedIn. That is his name, Oluwase Ayila. On Instagram, you have at Oluwase. You can reach out to him to
but
get anything you want, basically. Yeah,
yeah,
anything you need.
or you could reach out to me on GiveDev.ng. I'll try and post updates as much as I can, so you can send me a
Please
mail
do.
there. And you can also reach out to me then and ask me any questions there.
Okay then. Okay then. So share before you go or as you leave, what do you have to tell everyone looking to enter the games industry? Really,
Um, huh,
as an
I've not,
OG.
I've not thought of that fully. Like a couple years ago, I used to say, because a lot of people used to say, oh, they want to learn how to make games, and I used to say, you know, you can make games with anything. So obviously, I hear you need to learn C plus plus. I hear you see C sharp, and I'm like, no. Right now there are so many tools, so many availables in whatever programming language or whatever it is or tool that you're using, that you don't need to swap or switch. If it's Python, it's Pygame. With C sharp, you can use Unity, you can use a ton that right now is just available. You can Google. There's Godot, there's Unreal. There's so much available right now that wasn't really my time, tutorials, anything. So if you just want to start, or if you're interested in game dev or in anything, just start, just do it. You would enjoy it along the way. I think the guys at Dimension 11, Raven Illusion, they started at one point, right? And then they enjoyed it
Yeah.
and they continued. So if there's anything, just enter it, start. There's more content that is available than it was in our time. The only thing I would tell you is probably find a mentor, find someone that you can reach out to once in a while and say, hey, I'm learning this. This is the right path I need to go
Are you
to.
open to mentoring?
I'm open to ask me because I because I think a mentor guides you, and it's
Mhm.
more like you have that relationship with the mentor, right? I have me and my time, and also my family time, so I can't fully be a mentor, but I can probably give you tips, give you guidelines, tell you things that maybe mistakes I made that you shouldn't. I'll point you to the right guy. There was a guy, especially there was this it was the guy at Zero Escape. I knew he was doing his game, he was pushing out his content, and I was seeing it, right? And then I felt he has been doing this for like 8 months or so. I was like, I just asked him like, guy, do you have funding? He said no. So I was like, guy, go and apply for the AG, the African Game Developer Fund. And he applied and he got it. So um I will try and help you one way or another in those areas, but to be your full mentor, no, I really don't have time. uh
Okay, so I guess guys, half mentor up for grabs. Yes,
It's giving them
and
a profitable career. Yes,
yeah,
I
you were
can show
leaving,
you
and this
so
question
many.
came.
I can show you so many game devs. Like that's a very easy question. Yes, it's a profitable career.
In Nigeria, or you're just painting a picture. Come on.
In Nigeria, why is it not? There are studio leads in Malio. Dimension 11, they got acknowledged by Xbox. Currently, these are things that didn't happen in my time, right? So, is it a more profitable career? Yes, but I think you need to get mentors. I think if you don't, then you probably be experimenting the way we were when there was no mentor, when there was no template, there was nobody that you could see to say, okay, you've done it before, or at least you've gotten to this stage, right? So it is it? Yes, it is absolutely 100%. Just that right now I'm explaining other things, and I do intend to come back. But right now I'm explaining other things.
Ooh. Okay, then. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think we've answered that in Nigeria. Yes, it is. I mean, that's why I'm here. I believe it's a profitable career. I am not here to waste my
Don't
time.
don't say it like that. Like,
That's
what
why
is
I'm
it?
here. It's definitely. If it's not, I will be out of here immediately.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Okay
Uh,
then. So thank you so much, guys. We've spent quite some time. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to follow up with him once more. Like I had mentioned, you can reach out to him on Instagram. He said that's where he's most active lately. So at Oluwasheye, and he can be your half mentor.
well,
since, since he can't be your
take
full
it with
mentor,
a
he
pinch
can be
of
your
salt.
half mentor. Yeah. And one last question, guys. You can't do this to me. Every time I say we are done, that's when you ask a question. What do we need to work under Unity Company? Diamond, you need to elaborate. This looks like a crypted message.
I
Yeah.
don't, I don't really know
What
what
do
that
you
means.
mean work under Unity Company?
Do
What
you
is
want to work
Unity
under
Company?
Unity technologies? Do you want
Yeah,
to work in Unity or in Unisans with
yeah.
someone else? Maybe if you can expand on it
Please
a little bit
elaborate
more.
on that. Yeah, before we step out. And our brother from Ghana says, everything is coming into place, and I'm happy for our brothers. We are happy as well, and we look
Yeah,
out
yeah,
for
yeah.
more, yeah, collaboration. Yes, we look out for more collaboration. I know it is tough, but we look out for more collaboration. VCD says, I think it means the game engine.
If he wants to work at Unity, no, it's not hard. Because I know a friend who joined. Not Nigerian, by the way. So don't get your hopes high. But um, I think it's almost like joining any other game company. Know the role. I think also know yourself first of all. So I'll say it's like my animation friend who eventually got a gig. Has worked for like Netflix and Marvel and the rest, right? Know where you are and know where you need to be, and then plan a set map to get there. Because the truth is, the guys who probably want to hire you know your current level, right? But you also need to know your level and know where you need to be so that they can hire you, because they are not looking for someone that they can groom. They're looking for someone that can give them results fast, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a journey for you to get there, basically. It's a journey for you to get there. For me, I think that was the thing I identified, but I don't think I pursued it. So I'd say know where you are currently in terms of your technical skills. If you want to go into technical, if it's non-technical, also know what that is and know what you need to do to get there. Know where you need to be, and then plan the set map. Oh, do I need to get internships? Do I need to get a job at this? Do I need to have a portfolio of this sort of games to do it? And eventually get there. Am I a tools programmer? Is that what I want to do? I'm not the type that likes making the games, but I like creating the tools that help game developers make the games. Are you that kind of person? Literally, just identify who you are and where you need to get to, and then map it out.
Okay, that's interesting. I got the link to the anointed game, so I'll be dropping that in the chat section
You
right
got a
now.
link? Even
Yes.
I don't have a link.
Yeah, so that's from Bison. Bison shared it. See, that's the power of community. He had you there just
Oh, so
disgracing us.
so
It
you
was like,
might
no,
if
no,
it's
no, no.
Android. If it's Android, is it on Play Store? You might not get one on Play Store, but might get the ones of the other stores that may have copied it, the APK that is. Yes, yes. So that's possible.
Yeah, I think he shared what he shared was a YouTube link though. So
Oh,
yeah. So you guys can go enjoy. We've shared it to you. Yeah. We have more questions already. Guys, hey, I
that's it. They don't want me to go.
what now
I,
we've gone beyond the 1 hour mark. What do we
I mean,
need to apply for African Game Developer Fund? I think this one, when the fund comes out, you see what you need, right? That's pretty straightforward.
yeah. I'll just tell you whatever it is. A lot of those funds says your game can be concept. You don't need to have a game, but the chances of you making or you getting a fund is like slim. You need to have a playable game. You can have a concept, except it's a fantastic good concept. I think maybe it was Wagadu Chronicles that had that. I don't know. I'm speculating here. But unless you have a fantastic concept like a book art and you have all that information in detail, you need to have a gameplay for you to apply for a fund. They need to see that you're serious. They need to see that you're heading somewhere and you have a direction. Don't apply because you just have concept. And your game needs to be playable. It's playable and very good. At least gameplay wise, it might not be polished, but gameplay wise, I don't know what you need. You might have to ask. Maybe you guys can do like an interview with the guys that have gotten funds, and they tell you how they got the fund and what they passed through, and that might be useful. But for myself, I'll just say, please, if you're applying, do not apply on concepts. They might write it out there that you can apply with concept, but your chances of getting in the concept game is very slim.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. We're taking the comments quickly. Gasbros Gaming, our guys from Ghana says, really hope more Nigerian gaming news companies pop up and pop up. Only we can tell our stories. Yeah. I'm up for African, so Nigerian or Kenyan or whatever. We need more people telling our stories. Osita says, what does ECPM in Nigeria currently sit at?
I don't know what ACPM is.
Yeah, I think he's talking about when you run ads and all the cost per
Oh, it's low.
install the stuff. Yeah.
It's
I
low.
think
So
this is not the best place to discuss that. We should have like the people currently doing that. Because I mean, it's been long since you published a game or run all
I,
those
I
stuff.
I would say please next time if there's a gaming event, especially one like that happened in Comic Con where I think there were other events that happened that you could have asked.
Exactly.
Please don't miss out on things like that because then you can ask the guys who are active in industry and who can, if they want, review their books and
Attend
tell
to
you
that.
how things
Yeah.
are.
People
Um
like Edushola, Ugo B, those are the people that should be answering this kind of questions, right?
yeah, but
Because they're
generally it's
kind
low. It's low compared to other countries.
yeah.
Some
So
at
the
least
people
America and the rest.
yeah, very low, very, very low. So a lot of people target outside Africa to be able to make some money and all. Yeah, moving on. Is it true that game devs are underpaid? Hey, this guy and money. Time
I
and
I
money.
I mean I don't. It's relative. I think if you think about it generally, somebody or some human being somewhere is generally underpaid, right? Um, I I don't know how I can answer that question because I don't know where the intent is coming from. But I think if you're the best at your craft, I definitely do not think you'll be underpaid. If you are very, very good and everybody identify that craft, you will definitely not be underpaid. Even if you were underpaid at a certain point, there will be somebody that would recognize your craft and you will not be underpaid. If you're
Me,
asking in
I'm
terms of,
underpaid though.
if you ask, if you're asking in terms of, are you underpaid in Nigeria? I
I'm
would say,
highly underpaid.
somebody once told me there was a market cap in Nigeria. Um, and because of that statement, or because of sort of that thinking, you can get underpaid in Nigeria. But if you're
Say the
good and
truth. What
if
is
you're
you can get underpaid and people overpaid?
no, it's your choice. It's your choice. You see the contract, you decided everything is self-evaluation. You need to know how good you are, right? Like I said, there was a guy who got a gig. This was 2018, and he's literally left the country. I think it's in Netherlands. Emmanuel Omene, and he broke that barrier of because he was a Unity certified developer, right? So he got that international recognition to show I'm as good as other guys, and you can pay me equal or the same amount, or if not more. And then he got the gig and he left. I mean, did the gig with while in Nigeria and eventually left. So if you can prove that you are valuable
Yeah,
based on your result, your portfolio, then I don't see a reason why you'd be underpaid. Even if you are, you would eventually recognize that you're underpaid. And talent will always find what I say
exactly.
would always find where they are recognized, right?
I do know a couple of game devs that are working for remote companies, and I mean they can't really say they're underpaid and they earn good. The standard, I believe, of what other people, and we have a couple of them in Nigeria doing full remote work right now, a lot more
Yeah.
than ever. So you can connect with them and you won't be underpaid. If you work for an African game studio, I don't know, but the studios are trying. Let's be sincere. It's not like we have the same amount of funding the
So
others have
so
out
so
there.
so maybe let's put it in the context. Like this, I probably don't want to say it here, but that this whole software they were saying the women were underpaid close to the men, and then when they did the actual statistics, they found out that the men were actually underpaid based on the price pool. Like, so the price pool of the women, they were collecting maybe 11% of the price pool, and the men were collecting 7%. But the women were seeing that they were underpaid because the men's money were higher. So I'm like, underpaid based on what? So I think if you just understand the value that you're giving, right? I don't think generally you end up being underpaid for long periods of time. You might start like everybody ends up. I think everybody gets up being underpaid because you're either sacrificing money for you want to learn something, right? So there's this. I don't want to go into life, but there's this life where they say there's money, there is knowledge, and time, right? And you're either substituting one for the other, right? So if you don't have time, you probably need money and knowledge to get it, right? So if you don't have money, you probably need time and knowledge to get it, right? So depending on the phase that you're in, you just need to evaluate yourself and know that, okay, even if you're underpaid now, what, like I said, what do you need to do to make sure that you're not underpaid, right?
Yeah.
I think we spent too
Cool.
long on that
Speak. Yeah, you did actually, and you didn't pay us.
question.
Yeah, and to just speak to the question by Osita, like I said, Ugo B, Edushola, the guys that Dash to the Johnny Payment, the guys that are building, they're the ones that can answer this question. And Ugo just responded. ECPM is currently at 0.0. Somebody just said, "Be my mentor." ECPM is currently at $0.05 to 0.10. That would be 5 cents, 10 cents, I believe. So you need this kind of data because you did ask how can you get access to this data. Most of this data is not public, so you might need to have personal relationships with these people so that they can guide you on what to do. Yeah, but to access it. But I do know that I do know that Gaha is looking at getting us more access to data. If you don't know, check that Gaha store. It's a publishing platform for premium African games, animation, and comic content. And Diamond finally said it, be my mentor. Yes, Chair. Will you
No,
take this
is
humble
he
game dev as your mentee?
is he talking to me, or is he
Who
saying based on the
else
CPM
is he talking to?
or ACPM? I don't know. Just shoot me a message. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, then. But I think I missed a message from VCD. Okay, he said, what if there's a double demo in stock? If
Is
this is about the if this is about the Africa Game Dev Fund, when it comes out, guys, we normally reach out to these people to have sessions with them. So you can ask those questions. Really, share might not be the best, it will give you a general knowledge, but you can
not the
ask them
best.
direct questions and they'll attend to you. Another one, being my part-time mentor. She's raising the stakes higher. She know you can't be food. Oh, I don't know why I'm saying she, by the way, forgive me. But this game dev is raising the stakes higher and asking you to be part-time mentor too. Can I be your angler?
Am I paying you? Is that per hour? Is
Oh,
that
you will pay. I know you underpay me, no problem, but you will pay.
so I don't. I mean, I don't believe in the free work scheme. I
Yeah.
do agree with it when you're a certain age and when there's an agreement, but I don't think I like free work, that you're doing free work and you're learning the experience from it. I think someone should be paid because at least they're bringing some form of value, regardless. So if I were to hire you as my handler, yes, I will pay
So about the mentorship stuff, I think he has answered that. Reach out to him so that you know what's possible. Okay. You need mentorship. There are also more people in the industry as well, so that everybody doesn't just come and crowd in,
you. Please don't come and
right?
meet me. Like I
Yeah.
will point you because I think it may get to a point where if you're asking me some questions I don't know, I will point you to the right person, right? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So please, and we'll try to get the access of the stakeholders more accessible. We'll make it more accessible because there are lots of amazing people, lots of amazing game devs doing interesting stuff. That's also why you should join that WhatsApp group so that you can connect with people. We also have a Discord server personally, and there are many more WhatsApp group and servers like that. Reach out to people. A lot of people don't have time. Yes, when you get there, you will understand, but still reach out to people, connect with people, and sometimes might not necessarily need to tag that mentor because it feels like you're giving someone a full responsibility. If you have questions, just reach out. People are there that provide support that would answer your questions. You might not necessarily need that word mentor. You get. You might just need to talk to people more, meaningful conversations, as opposed to going out there looking for it. I guess, for example, myself, if you can get a hold of me, that would be wonderful. And a lot of the game devs are looking, they're building games, they're looking for how to build their studios. So, yeah, that being said, I think we have come to the end of this session. And please, nobody shoot. I wish I can block the comments. So,
can
yes,
I
Shaya,
message you?
thank you very much.
Instagram, Oscar has dropped it. It's the name that you can see, just everything without the hyphen on Instagram. It's very easy. Um,
Yeah,
it's my first name and last name without the hyphen. So
there it
hopefully
is.
it's way easier for you. I should next time put like contact us
Mm-hmm.
on my slide so
Except you
people
will be
know.
the us, right? Just you.
Yes, don't worry. I'm a one man army. I used to be love, and I have developed a couple of games just by myself. Although programming side, if it comes to art, I can't draw art to save my life.
Yeah. Okay, then. Cool. And yeah, so the final thing and the last thing I'm reading, if you guys drop anything, I am not reading it again. But yeah, this is really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
this
this
is
is
really cool.
Leke. So
So
Leke
please,
says,
this is international mentors. So go global.
yeah. Ami Sadvad is very active on LinkedIn. I follow him as well. And then the IG DAF is IGDA Foundation Virtual Exchange Program. They also match you. I've been a part of that program. So, yes, 101%. And that's Leke as well. He's a volunteer. That's another way to get access to information and all. He volunteers for the IGDA Foundation. And he's in Nigerian. And you can see he's looking so corporate. It doesn't look like a game there, but you get we are professionals here, right? So reach out. Don't limit your base. Reach out. You need as many support as you want. And when mentorship is not possible, keep an open conversation. That can go a long way as well. You can even volunteer. That can go a much longer way as well because you get to work with people and learn. And with that, guys, have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much for the questions.
Okay then. Okay. So bye, Mr. Olushaya. Bye.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Okay. So just some little housekeeping quickly before I move on as well. Wow, we're rounding up. Tomorrow we're going to have one more session with Ahmed Mawi and Collins Mutugi, who are going to be talking about using open source technology to fast track the development of the African games industry. And after that, the act pitch is going to happen, where about 19 game studios are going to be showcasing their games, looking for pitching for prizes, for opportunities, and much more. We're looking at $13,000 in total cash prize pool, going for prototype grants. Some people will be going to Africa Games Week this November, December in South Africa. They'll all be getting into like a fellowship where they'll get access to mentors as well. But this is mainly focused on people who want to build games, who are building, not want to, who are already building games as a business. And this night by midnight, I believe we're going to be showcasing a reel of all the games that are going to get pitched. So, yeah, thank you guys. Do join me tomorrow and do have a lovely evening.